all the risk is on one side. It's on the side of offending a group of a few thousand people at most who really care about this stuff, have invested their whole ideology and their whole identity in these real kind of extreme.
Okay, so this is utter and complete nonsense, but I guess, like, you're watching a man pretzel his brain in real time to try and justify the way the world works, because it doesn't make sense to him. He's like, but I'm a proud capitalist, but why is it all the capitalist corporations that I beloved, why are they all once a month going gay? They have pride flags and trans flags. Ew, I don't, but these are capitalisms. Why are capitalisms hurting me? I don't like this. This is scary to me. This is a real segment made by adults. Yes, adults made this. Rich adults. Fox News. List crowns 2022's worst of the woke. Worst of the, I guess it's Disney?
As 2022 comes to a close, a brand new list is revealing the wokest companies of the year.
This is real. This is real adults made this, wrote this. This is a script being read by an actor who's being paid to read the script written by adults right now.
The wokest companies of the year, both Twitter.
BlackRock, the wokest company of the year. American Express, how woke you are. Very well. Social issues. Oh my. Twitter. Nice to see you. I'm assuming this is pre-Elon and then it de-wokes. It, like, the wokening just evaporates from it. Half the woke.
And the NBA making the cut, with companies like Disney and BlackRock earning the title for the second year in a row.
Ashley Rinsberg is the author of The Great Lady Race. He joins us now. Ashley, good morning to you. What do you make of these award winners, if you will?
I think it's a dubious distinction at best, but it's great to see.
Dubious distinction, methinks.
See that someone is keeping track of this stuff, because what we're seeing is that these giant companies whose real duty should be to their customers and their shareholders are now pandering to a tiny group of progressive activists.
No, you weirdos. God damn. It must be so weird because you're so far away from the Overton window. You have no idea what's going on the other end of society. So you're just there and you're like, well, clearly they're just trying to pander to a very small demographic. It's like, what, by not saying that trans people don't exist? By not being like black people should only be sidekicks, never princesses or princes or the star of the movie. That's all it took. And so because of that, like, well, they're clearly just doing this to pander to marginalized community. It's not like, broadly speaking, most people in society kind of already think that. And it's kind of more reflective of market demographics because they spend lots of money trying to find out what market demographics care about, and people might want a little sprinkling of, you know, relevance in the content that they consume, especially for the adults who have to take their parents, because it's the adults who have money. The kids, they don't have any money. They can't have jobs. Those glory days are gone. So instead, it's the parents who take them. So do the parents want to sit in a movie, that's basically just what we've had for ever, for always, really.
And the media that's backing them up and amplifying their message. And what we're seeing is the effect for both shareholders and customers is terrible. Disney's a great example of that, and so is the NBA.
How much of the progressive...
I would like to add, before this fiasco began, Disney was actually donating money to a variety of different politicians, including, this one might surprise you, Ron DeSantis. Yes, and a lot of people flipped out, justifiably, including LGBTQ plus employees of Disney, who were like, that's the guy who just passed the Don't Say Gay bill, Disney. What the fuck are you doing? So the actual LGBTQ plus community, very mad at Disney, especially, not to mention the working conditions in Disney, abysmal. Not a good company, terrible company. So I have been mocking the right, like laughing at them, while at the same time enjoying this little battle going down, because yeah, sure, let them fight. As long as you were distracted with a massive corporation that is trying to destroy copyright law and consume every other property like ever, so Disney controls everything, like they control all, they are the only source of entertainment. If you want to go after them, have fun, like enjoy it. I'll just continue to laugh along the way as you keep saying and freaking out at the fact that there's now a lesbian. It's a lesbian in a Disney cartoon. Why did they have to make it sexual? Okay, I just want to watch my Disney cartoons where a couple of lions roll around on each other while Elton John serenades them in the background. They lick each other's faces, then all of a sudden one of them just makes that face like, oh, I'm ready. And you're like, wait, what the fuck? These are lions. That's what I want. That's wholesome Disney entertainment.
Activists play a role in this as well.
That's the whole game here. I mean, what they do is they create a lot of noise, or they do something damaging or disruptive, like emptying milk in a supermarket, or damaging a Van Gogh painting, or
Sorry, what? What does that have? Do you think they work for Disney, or do you think they have a say at Disney, or do you think Disney sees that and Disney is like, oh, this is the future. This is going to make us the most profit. Let's invest in whatever this is. Whatever, I don't understand it, the soup milk thing, but sure, yeah, let's go with that.
whatever it will be. And then the media takes that and amplifies it to millions of people, and embarrasses these companies. So these companies live in fear of.
They don't work for those companies. What are you talking about? They're not associated. One of them was associated with a radical environmental group, and the other one is loosely associated with some environmental groups. But in both cases, it wasn't universally beloved. It wasn't something that Disney, I think, even spoke about. What does this have to do with Disney or Twitter or BlackRock or any of these companies?
A tiny group of activists who are doing these kinds of stunts, and there's really no pushback from the other side. So for these giant companies, all the risk is on one side. It's on the side of offending a group of a few thousand people at most who really care about this stuff, have invested their whole ideology and their whole identity in these real kind of extreme.
Okay, so this is utter and complete nonsense, but I guess, like, you're watching a man pretzel his brain in real time to try and justify the way the world works, because it doesn't make sense to him. He's like, but I'm a proud capitalist, but why is it all the capitalist corporations that I beloved, why are they all once a month going gay? They have pride flags and trans flags. Ew, I don't, but these are capitalisms. Why are capitalisms hurting me? I don't like this. This is scary to me. It's like, no, dog, they're not doing this to try and appeal to a very small selection of activists. They're like, the companies don't care about activists. If anything, activists are usually a hindrance to their nonstop profit seeking. What they do care about is maximizing profit, and this, broadly speaking, is just how generally society seems to agree upon. Like, just society, broadly speaking, doesn't hate the gays as much as used to do, but you see it in reverse. You've twisted the whole thing so that it's like, well, clearly the activists, like the ones throwing the milk on the floor and the soup cans, well, they've infiltrated into these woke corporations and they've wokeified them, but it's just to please a small amount of people, and that's why the broad majority of us are rejecting them. We're rejecting the woke. Yes, we're making them go broke.
Leftist ideas, and they're willing to go to jail for it. So the companies just kind of roll over and go with the flow because it's cheaper for them at the end of the day than have.
That makes no sense. None of what you've said makes any sense. Like, I want to hope that the older clientele that Fox News kind of caters to is going to be like, well, this one doesn't really make sense. I mean, how do they have any power? We're talking about a couple teenagers who poured out some milk and poured it. Broadly speaking, they were kind of ripped into by a lot of the people that you seem to hate too. Like the left were like, that sucks, because that's a whole bunch of work for someone who's getting minimum wage to now have to grab a mop and mop that all up. And speaking as someone who has mopped shit up in a minimum wage job, I'm just going to tell you, that would fucking suck. I would be really pissed off. I wouldn't be like, yeah, we're doing it. Crush the fucking, the capitalist class. We're taking down the bourgeoisie, comrades. I would be like, you fucking kidding me, dude? I gotta clean that up, man. I gotta clean all of that up. I'm gonna have to fucking mop it, and I'm gonna have to spray the floor, scrub that. I get all behind on the other shit I'm supposed to be doing stalking right now, and I gotta fuck you. No, seriously, fuck you. What the fuck's wrong with you? Why would you do that?
Media campaign against them and how evil they are.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, Ashley. And it really does seem like in a lot of these situations, like particularly Disney, the CEOs, the people at the top, aren't as reactionary. They want to go one way, but then they cave to 22 and 23-year-old employees. And we saw that play out firsthand with the parental rights and education law in Florida.
That's right. It's these activists can make a lot of noise. They can do it real fast. They can organize quickly. And at the other side of it, they've within the companies, we also have this huge sprawling HR structure, human resources that's hiring people who have like-minded ideas. They're kind of pulling from the activist group because they're supporting ESG, environmental, social, and governance policies that are designed to push the companies to the left. So both from within and from without, you've got a tremendous amount of pressure. And at the end of the day, the CEO, however bold or brave that person might be, that's
I just wish this world was real. The one that they've kind of invented, where it's like Joe Biden's a radical neo-Marxist, and all these companies have been infiltrated by these leftist organizations that, strangely enough, are not there to destroy or undermine capitalism, but reinforce capitalism with new lefty powers. Yes, evolve it, if you will. Like, what?
It's only one person, and they really can't resist that much pressure and the risk of having a full-blown media campaign waged against them for some minor infraction that a group of, like you said, 22-year-olds have decided is the worst thing ever to happen in history. So they'll just say, you know what, let's just take the opposite path.
This author's pinned tweet about how cool crypto is. Everyone in tech and crypto should read it. Why? Media is about perception, controlled through centralized narratives. Crypto is about freedom, consensus, and community. Well, community just getting each other broke.
Get along to go, or go along to get along. And that's exactly what's happened. But what happens with companies is that they continue to optimize and optimize and optimize to the point that they actually begin to adopt these ideas as if they really care about them. Of course they don't, but now it feels as if they do.
Yeah, and it's not that many of them either. It's just the ones that are picked up by the media. We got to get to this, though. The media is gushing over VP Harris in the New Year-end interviews. One Washington Post op-ed says she had an excellent year, writing Harris has ably fulfilled the role Biden chose her to perform. The nation's first black female and first South Asian vice president has also had to contend with the negative reactions and low expectations that come with shattering ossified notions of who should be in the position. So are they talking about the same VP who couldn't keep her staff? I mean, it was like a rotating door there for a while.
Did you see how excited he was? He really wanted to jump at that. He's like, oh, what a tee up. Just wait. He actually starts, I think he licks his lips at one point. Yeah, right here. He's already licking his lips. He's so excited.
Staff? I mean, it was like a rotating door there for a while.
They are talking about her, and they're talking about her really with DNC talking points in their hand. It's kind of like a readout, the press release, which, you know, I guess it's okay, fair enough. But I think what bothers a lot of us is the hypocrisy. Because
oh, thanks. It's nice of you to give permission for someone to exist. I guess it's okay, fair enough.
You see that other firsts, like
you know what's wild is that, like, I'm not even here to really promote liberal like identity politics. I despise liberal identity politics as much as anyone else. I would rather someone come in who effectively wants to actually abolish systemic racism structures, rather than someone who wants to reinforce it but is also representational of people who may be marginalized by that same system. Those are two very different things, right? If the whitest C word in the world came into governmental power and was going to work to abolish systemic racism, I wouldn't be like, well, stop a cis white male in a position of power. We have too many of those. We must have less white cis males in position. No, I don't give a fuck if it's a white cis male who is straight as fuck. Okay, the most and this is going to be a super Chad, the Giga Chad white cis male who's in a position of power, who's now going to work to dismantle all of these structural problems. That's fine by me. I don't need someone who's like, oh yes, but we can now tokenize this person who is now going to reinforce the same problems, reinforce the same systems. You know, the problem there. Like, no, that's where I'm not going to agree. But at the same time, why does this person make it so easy too? Like, I feel like you reinforce the other side because you're making it so silly, where you're just like, well, I guess I'll allow it this one time, but honestly, is Kamala really that great?
Melania Trump, the first immigrant first lady, or others across the board, Nikki Haley, one of the first Indian Americans or American of Indian descent to hold the role of UN ambassador. And we don't have this whole first fanfare. We have silence because it's not about the firsts. It's not about the job that they're doing, how good or bad. It's just about the politics. It's just about the democratic politics. And if they can score points because
yeah, congratulations. The worst person just made a point. This is very low-hanging fruit. You've pointed out something very self-evident.
VP Harris, Kamala Harris is this or that, or first African-American, whatever it might be. It's great for them in that moment.
By the way, the reason you're reporting on this and talking about it is just by the virtue of existing as someone who is black in America, it becomes political. Like, just your existence makes it political. It's like, oh, well, I don't understand why Disney has to become all woke. Why do these companies have to be woke? Why do they have to introduce black characters? And you're like, well, the fact that you are making this now into a culture war issue and you're talking about this, like you're actually upset about this rather than being upset at, say, I don't know, all the other fucked up shit that Disney does all the time. because by virtue of existing, just by being black, that makes it political. That's, you see what's happening, right?
But they really don't care about that issue. What they really care about are their core issues, abortion, gun rights, etc.
Right.
And if Kamala Harris were to come out tomorrow and say, you know what, I've got some hesitations about abortion or gun rights or whatever it might be that isn't part of the media ideology, she would be pilloried tomorrow.
Right. You can.
Wow. So that, I think that's a little mild dog whistle there, but right into the media ideology, as if there's, you know, some correlation between the control of the media and the presidency. What do you really want me to say here? What did this have to do with the wokest companies? You just started the segment with this picture. We didn't speak about any of these except for this one. So I guess Walt Disney won. Walt Disney was the wokest company of 2022. How do you measure? How do you quantify wokeness? Do you have metrics you can present to us? You wrote a book on this. You're very, very concerned about this issue. This is of deep prescience. So what's the deal? How does this whole thing work? I just want to know. How do we get the vectors? How do I find the way the chart or the graph works? Any of that? Are you going to explain any of it, or is just going to throw this up there and be like, oh, well, you know, woke, just black people? Yeah, leave it to the right to turn woke into a slur. Only the right could pull that off. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demmel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arnie, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.